Hey guys, just a quick shout to say, can you hear me before I get any further? Yeah, if someone can just write in the chat to make sure sure you can hear me loud and clear. Perfect, that's good. Cool. So welcome to the second East Anglia Quality Assurance meetup. Once again, virtual. Thank you for attending. So I think those of you who attended the first one will be pleased to know that I'm not speaking in this one, so you don't have to listen to my dulcet tones for half an hour. But instead, we have Giridhar, who is going to talk, give us an introduction to Cypress, and show us how we can use it in our web applications. So if you have any questions along the way, you can use the ask a question feature, which I've not used before. So I think if you just ask them, I can view them, and then we can answer them at the end. We can go through each of them. So please feel free to ask away. Yeah, welcome. And over to Giridhar.
Thank you, Rian. Thank you so much, actually. So can everyone hear me? Perfect. All right. Okay. Let me just share my screen so that we can just get started. I hope you guys are able to see my screen. Okay. Interesting. Let me just share it again. Share. Yeah. Perfect. All right. Okay. Yeah, cool. Perfect. All right. Let me just bring up my PPT. Wonderful. All right. Okay. Thank you once again, guys, for joining this session with EAQA, the East Anglia Quality Assurance. And my name is Giridhar, and I'm a test automation consultant. So I've been in this IT industry and software industry for almost like 10 plus years now. And I have worked with multiple customers, and I have worked with multiple tools as well. So I'm an official Cypress Ambassador. So I evangelize about Cypress.io tools across different locations via tech forums like meetups and conferences, etc. And I'm the founder of the testershub.info website as well, where you will be able to see almost like 200 plus software testing tools that are available in the market. And it is a community platform where people will just give the advantages and disadvantages of each and every tool that is present there. And I have a blog where I write lots and lots of articles about different software testing tools that are available, and also a couple of review about them as well. So just in case, if you want to connect with me, you can connect with me via my LinkedIn, and I have a GitHub repo as well. If you just go through this particular slide later, you will be navigated to my GitHub repo. And if you want to follow me, you can just follow me via VGRK2017 in Twitter. So having said this, we will directly get into the agenda. So basically speaking, this is an introduction session for Cypress, in fact. So me and Rian, we are having plans to have multiple sessions down the line, probably a lunch and learn session kind of a stuff, where we will slightly deepen into the different features and different concepts that are available as part of Cypress.io. So, but in this particular session, what is it we are going to talk about is to get introduced to Cypress, and we are going to talk about what are all the features that are available as part of this particular tool. And we are going to do a live demo in the sense like we are going to create a project, we are going to install Cypress, and we are going to write test cases based out of it as well. And we are going to talk about the benefits that the target audience or the target, fellas like the developers or testers are going to get. And of course, we will be having a Q&A session at the end. So firstly, what is Cypress? It is again another web automation testing tool, but it is designed in a different way for the modern web applications built on top of React.js or Angular.js, which is becoming very common these days. So many organizations are moving towards these technologies, most recently with JavaScript-based platforms or applications. The reason behind is like they just wanted to get rid out of the more heavy technologies like Java, PHP, or .NET, etc. So basically speaking, Cypress is a tool that is developed for developers and testers actually, but the main focus is from the front-end development or front-end developers perspective. But the features that it offers can also be adapted by testers, and that's the reason why Cypress is becoming one of the most popular tools among the testers as well. So at least I have worked with Cypress for almost a year now, and I have used it for my personal use as well as for my work use. So based on my experience, what I feel is like with the growth rate of how Cypress developers are putting efforts to bring this particular tool in a more robust way, I personally feel that this is going to be the future. Probably down the line after a year or two, Cypress is going to be will be used by many companies, especially when it comes to modern web applications. So basically speaking, Cypress is having a different architecture completely. So it is not having any architecture that is similar to Selenium or any other tools that are available in the market today. So the major difference is like it runs directly on the browser. So that is a huge difference here. We will just see it in the demo on how it is being, executed. And it is highly reliable, and it is very, very fast, at least when compared to other tools what is available in the market as of today. And it is having the capability of doing end-to-end testing, that too for the modern web applications. When I say end-to-end testing, I mean to say that it is having the capability to do API testing. In fact, if you are using the Jest for unit testing, it is a very good combination for using Cypress to do the end-to-end testing completely when it comes to the automation pyramid perspective. So if you see here, this is just a glimpse that I've taken this morning about the number of downloads that are happening every week for Cypress. This proves that it is becoming very popular among the developers and the testers, in fact, with my experience with Cypress, what I somewhat feel is this gives a real bond between the developers and the testers. So we all are having a myth, or we all are having an understanding that the programming language that the developers are using should be used by the testers as well for test automation. So like Selenium with Java, or if the application language is Java, you have to use Selenium with Java, something like that, so that it will be more collaborative. But to be very honest, still developers are different and testers are different. So both are two different entities here. But what I feel is Cypress is one thing that bonds between the developers and the testers to use the same tool and the same programming language as well. So in which it will be very easy for anyone to debug when it comes to continuous integration or continuous delivery platform perspective. So let's see a couple of features that are available as part of Cypress. So what happens is, let's assume that we are not using Cypress and we are using Selenium, or we are using any other tools, open source tools that are available. So basically speaking, if you want to create a framework, right? If you want to create a framework, you need to have a dependency on external libraries. So say, for example, if you're using JavaScript, right? So you have to depend on Mocha or Jasmine or QUnit or Karma or something like that. In fact, you need to, add the dependencies of protractor, nightwatch, WebDriver, etc. So the basic problem here, the underlying problem with this one is sometimes what happens, let's assume that a driver, okay, the Selenium WebDriver version, a mismatch might happen. So if you have a dedicated CI/CD pipeline and you are running a Chrome browser in it, and if that particular Chrome browser gets automatically updated, the driver version also should be getting updated. But the problem is like you have to do it manually, right? So when it comes to CI/CD pipeline and when you're running it in a headless mode, it doesn't matter at all. So it just throws an error saying that it is not possible. So it's again a flaky test that is happening there. Again, it's just a small example. But when it comes to Cypress, it is an all-in-one testing framework, which means everything that you see on the left-hand side for be it the test framework or a wrapper or an assertion library or anything that you want, everything is packaged within Cypress. But keep in mind, Cypress is completely different and it doesn't have anything to do with Selenium at all. It's a complete architecture itself, in fact. So how can I achieve this particular Cypress in the sense like installing Cypress? It's very easy to install. It's just only one command we need to use. It's npm install Cypress. So you can just install everything that are required for your automation framework, done and dusted within one line of command actually. And it is very, very easy for us to set up the tests. We are going to see that in action, how we can write a simple test on quickly and efficiently as well. And we are also going to see how Cypress is going to execute it in different ways, like whether it is from the command line or it is through the test runner, or it can be running it from the CI/CD pipeline as well. So having said this, we'll just go to the next set of features that Cypress offers us, which I personally see that other tools doesn't offer. Not many features that are available as part of this particular slide. So the first and foremost is the time travel. So that is one feature that I really like with Cypress. So basically, what is this time travel? Is something like you executed a test, and you have the capability of navigating through each and every step that the particular test has undergone. So you can just navigate on top of the particular step and hover over on it, and the appropriate DOM screenshot will be shown there. So this is very, very easy for us to do the debugging to understand what has happened at that particular point of time. And good thing is the snapshots are taken automatically. So there is nothing we have to configure it like do not take it, or take only when this particular thing, when this particular condition happens, or something like that. The other one really, surprises me when it comes to Cypress is the real-time reloads. So, say for example, with the other tools that we have now, we have to use explicit wait or implicit wait, or we need to give a waiting strategy, right? Where many flaky tests are getting involved. But in Cypress, the beauty is like you don't have to explicitly tell anything about the wait time, where it directly waits for everything. And the other one is the real-time reloads. It is something like when you just change something in your automation code and save it, and it automatically executes in the web browser. So you don't have to trigger it you don't have to trigger it manually, but it just executes automatically, so that when you just go to the particular page, you will be able to see that the test case is getting executed. And the other feature is for spice, stubs, and clocks, which is again majorly used by developers for unit testing purpose. So spice and stubs are used when there is no a backend server that is available. So you can just mock the data and you can just try to do the test automation here. And you have clocks as well, where you can just try to use the date and time feature to do the time travel as well. And the other one is the consistent results. So it is having a different architecture. Like I said earlier, it doesn't have any web drive. It doesn't have any web driver in the middle. So there is no JSON wire protocol that is involved here. So it is directly between your test code and the browser. So basically speaking, the results will be more consistent. So there will be no lag or something like that. That is the reason why it is much faster when compared to any other tool that is available as of today. And the other one is the screenshots and videos. So again, yes, it is possible through a couple of tools that are available today. But again, it is coming as out of the box where you don't have to worry about taking the screenshots or videos or something, and it automatically takes whenever there is a failure, or you can just customize it however you want actually. And then now let's see this particular thing in action. So let's start seeing how to install Cypress. We will just run the first test. We will create some tests. We will create some inbuilt tests. We will execute them via browsers. We will execute them through test runners, and we can also execute them through command line actually. So this is what we are going to do for next 30 to 40 minutes. So in case if you have any questions, just pop up in the Q&A session. Q&A section. We can just have it at the end actually. So let's go. So all I wanted to do is I'm going to use Visual Studio, and you can just use whatever whichever IDE that is comfortable with you. Cypress uses JavaScript, and you can just use the IDEs accordingly. So the one which I'm going to use is Visual Studio Code. So I'm just going to open. And I have an existing one. That's all right. I'm just going to close this. Let's create a new one and see how it's going to work. Let me just go to Finder. Let me just go to repositories. I'll just create a new folder, something called as AQA Cypress. And now all I need to do is just open that particular folder, or you can just create it directly over here as well, not a big deal at all. All right, okay, so now that I have a fresh Visual Studio, I'm just going here, and all we need to do is first instantiate this particular project. So to do that, I'm going to give npm init. And this is the place where you will be giving all the package names and version numbers, descriptions, and everything. But for now, I'm just passing. So I've just created it. So the moment I create it, I'll be getting my package.json. You will be able to see nothing installed over here. So like I said earlier, let's go to the Cypress's official website. So cypress.io. And if you see here, this is the command that we need to give. So all I need to do is click on this, and this particular command will be copied. And there is one more thing that I wanted to tell. So in order to execute the tests that we are creating, you can just execute it in different ways. Like I said, one is from CLI, or you can just use test runner. So the beauty of Cypress is you can directly download the test runner and then execute the test cases from there. So without doing anything with the coding. So what is the main advantage of this one is something like if you are a business tester and have less coding experience. So what you can do is you can ask your automation engineer or the developers to write the appropriate automation tests and hand it over to you. So all you need to do is import that particular folder into this test runner, which we will be seeing now. And then from there, you can directly execute the test cases, which means you don't have to worry about setting up all the entire framework in your machine, like installing Eclipse or installing Visual Studio, or installing any other IDEs and configuring the proxies, configuring, installing all the framework dependencies and so on and so forth. So you don't have to worry about it at all. So having said this, I've just copied this one, and I'm going there and just giving. Okay. Oh, sorry. Yeah. So there you go. So when I hit enter, so the dependencies of this particular Cypress will be installed automatically. So we don't have to worry about anything over here. And it is quite faster as well. So done. So basically speaking, what it installs is it installs all the packages that are required for Cypress, and it downloads the test runner for us as well. All right. So now what we have now at the moment is something like if you go and just see the package.json, you will be able to see the Cypress is installed successfully. And we will also install one more package called Mocha-Sum that is for test reports. So we'll just install that. So for that, I just have to go to a browser and hit npm Mocha-Sum. and that's it. So just hit this one and go to Cypress. Sorry, I Visual Studio Code and hit enter. So I think that's it. Nothing more is required at this point of time when it comes to the test automation and reporting here. Now let's do one thing. Let's trigger the Cypress test runner actually. So to do that, all I need to do is npx Cypress open. That's it. So when I hit enter, what happens here is it just opens the test runner for me. So this is the test runner that I was talking about. So again, the beauty is like Cypress will give us a simple test cases. So the recipes that are available as part of Cypress, and you can just hit OK, and you'll be able to see lots and lots of sample tests that are available for different functionalities like assertions, or you can just go and see for networking, spice, stubs, and also viewport changes, each and everything actually. So let's see this particular test cases in the code as well. So all I need to do is just refresh here, and let me close. And if you go here, this is the folder that will be created, and our tests will be residing under this particular folder called integration. So make sure whenever you're writing the test, it is located within this particular integration folder. And it should be, since it is Mocha based, that is the only test framework that Cypress supports as of now. So make sure that it is having .spec.js, extension as well when it comes to the test, when it comes to the tests. So if you go and click on here, you will be able to see lots and lots of tests. Let us not see this particular example. We will just try to see how we can write it. So before that, we will just again go to the test runner, and we will just explore this particular test runner for a minute. So basically speaking, this test runner has the capability, or gives capability for us to execute the test cases across different browsers. So if you go to the right-hand side, and if you see here, these are the browser supports. Yes, Cypress supports cross-browser testing as well these days. But the problem is like in 3.x, it never supports. But try to install 4.x, Cypress 4.x version, where you will be getting cross-browser support. And the browsers that are showing here are the browsers that are installed in my personal machine actually. So in my MacBook, I have installed Chrome version 81, Firefox 76, and Edge. So that's the reason why all the browsers that are installed in my machine are getting displayed over here. Likewise, I think Cypress supports more than 10 versions of browsers, but not Safari or but not Safari and Internet Explorer. But it supports all the beta versions of these browsers and the canary versions of these browsers, which will be very, very useful for the developers to test whether their application is compatible for the next production release of these particular browsers. So that is one main advantage with Cypress. But if you compare it with other testing tools that are available, you will be able to execute it against the production versions of these particular browsers alone. So this is about cross-browser testing. And you can, if you think you want to execute only one particular test, you can just go and click on the test that you want to execute. So it automatically triggers the tests. Or if you think, I want to execute all the test cases that are there as part of this particular folder, all you need to do is just go and click this run all specs, which will eventually execute all the test cases that are available here. Right, and there is something called as runs. The one feature that Cypress offers is integrating your project with the dashboard. So Cypress is completely open source. It is free to use, but again, it is having another dashboard service which is licensed. I think which is in a commercial, which is used for commercial purpose. You just have to pay for the dashboard to get the features out of it. So one such feature is the parallel execution. So the parallel execution is not supported locally, but it supports in the CI/CD pipelines. But what I have seen is like if you have Jenkins or Circle CI, you will be able to achieve the parallel execution here. Just because like Cypress has its own load balancing strategy that eventually executes the test cases in different machines actually. So that is how the Cypress's parallel execution is strategized. And you have the settings where you can just configure everything here, but it is optional, but it is not really required for us to do. But again, if you think there is some proxy that is involved in your organization, you can just add the proxies here, and you can just ignore this as well. So now let's do one thing. Let's execute all these test cases from the examples. All right, but of course, we are going to write test cases separately. But let's see how fast it is executing, how easy it is to integrate, how easy it is to execute all the test cases. So if you remember, a couple of minutes back, I was talking about the business testers, isn't it? So business testers, what they need to do is they just have to import all these spec files, which are developed by the automation engineers or the developers, and we can just put everything over here, and they can just run it just by clicking, each and every test cases. That's it. So let's click on this run all specs and see what happens. I'm going to execute it against Chrome 81 version. So I'm just going to click run all specs. So this is the browser. Basically, this is the Chrome browser that will be opened. And if you see here, the test cases are getting executed here. And this is the viewport size. Again, you can customize it however you want based on the application. The reason why viewport we are using here is there might be some responsive UIs in your application where you might need to test it with the mobile devices. So you can just use this particular viewport to simulate the responsive UI here to execute the test cases and see how it is executing. And I think you're able to see how fast it is getting executed, right? So it is very fast when compared to other tools that are available. So let's wait for a second. It's just executing. It's almost done. So almost 78 tests, almost 80 tests got executed within 63 seconds. And all these are individual tests, basically. So these are not, steps that are available. These are individual tests that are getting executed here. Perfect. So if you see here, all the test cases got executed, almost 114 tests. 114 tests, not test steps. It is 114 tests got executed within 82.84 seconds, actually. So that is how it is much faster. The reason is like it is having that capability of automatic waits and everything. So we don't have to worry about it. So it just executes much faster when compared to other tools. And let's go back and all right, let's come to this later. Now let's go to our project. And what I'm going to do is, I don't want this particular folder, examples. So all I'm going to do is I'm just going to ignore this. So I just don't want to use that. So I'm just going to give delete. So now what we are going to do is we are going to use this particular application called Parabank application, and this is my favorite application. And if you see in my courses as well, I'll be using this particular Parabank application as the application under test. So what we are going to do with this particular test is something like we are going to understand how fast it is easy for us to program the test actually. And how fast it is, how fast it is for us to execute the test cases as well. So this is the scenario that we are going to automate. I'm going to log in into this particular Parabank application. And then after going here, let's assume that I'm going to click request loan. And I'm just going to ask for a loan actually. So say, for example, $1,000. And down payment, I'm going to give $10, just like that. So this is the account that I'm going to use. And when I click apply, this is the page that will be loaded. If you see here, this is an XHR request actually. So XHR is the latest technology that is available as part of the modern web apps, and Cypress supports XHR seamlessly actually. So that is where it benefits lots and lots of developers, where they can just start writing their test cases, and they really like it because of its nature, where they can just write the tests more easily actually. So coming back to here, once this particular loan is processed, we are going to validate whether this particular text is coming here. So we are going to use the chai assertion library that is there as part of Cypress itself to validate whether this is coming, and then we are going to log out, right? Perfect. Now let's do one thing. Let's go to Visual Studio. I'm going to create a folder called as Parabank. Let me just put it in small. It doesn't matter, but again, I'm just putting it over here. And click on this, and I'm going to give as request loan .spec.js. Make sure that all your tests are specs here, because we are going to use Mocha framework here. And we are going to hit enter. So basically speaking, if you want to use the Cypress's IntelliSense, right? You have to use something like this particular code. I'll just show you that as well. Where are you? There you are. Cool. So if you see here, I'll just open it over here. So this is the reference that we need to use to make sure that the Cypress is having its IntelliSense in this particular file. The main advantage of using this one is like you don't have to use any import statements or something like that. So it is just only one line that we need to use here to make use of to take advantage of all the libraries that are available as part of Cypress, in fact. Now let's go here and let's start writing our first test. So if you see here, describe is something that came up automatically here, and I'm going to give it something like this, and I'm going to give it as Parabank tests, and let's do one thing. So let's write our tests now, actually. So to write the tests, you can just make use of the it block. And if you are quite new to Mocha, there is a course that I've taken based out of Mocha and Test Automation University. You can directly go there, and it's free, and you can just go through the concepts that are available as part of Mocha, which will definitely benefit you when you start using Cypress, actually. So I'm going to give it, and I'm going to give a request loan, and I'm going to, what did I miss? I just missed the perfect. All right. Okay. Now we have this particular test ready, actually. So now it's time for us to start writing it. Okay. So let's assume that we are testers and developers, right? So if you remember I think you will be remembering the scenario what we have to do. So in order to launch the URL, all we need to do is something like we need to give cy.visit. That's it. So we don't have to instantiate anything such as drivers or anything. It is completely, Cypress will take care of everything. So we don't have to worry about anything. So we are going to give the URL of this particular Parabank. Let me go here and paste it here and see whether this is the right URL. Yes, this is the right URL. I'm going to paste it over here, and no need to worry about giving the semicolon. So I'm just saving it over here, and when I go to the test runner, this is what I was talking about, the real-time reloads, actually. So if you go to the test runner, you will be able to see that I have deleted all the example tests, and I've created one test, and that is available here automatically without you doing anything, right? So now let's execute this particular test case, because we are going to write our entire tests based on the test runner. So how are we going to do that? So when I click this one, so a new browser will be opened, and the website will be launched here, which is absolutely great. Wonderful. Now from here, what is it we are going to do, right? So Cypress as such has a wonderful feature called selector playground. I personally liked it a lot, and this is what many developers will appreciate as well. So what it does exactly is it's kind of an object spy. So all you need to do is like click on this one, and let's assume that this is the field that we are going to input the username. All you need to do is when you click on this particular locator or this particular component from the DOM, there is a code that will be automatically generated on what is it you need to do there with the locator as well. So let's copy this locator. It's very simple. So let's copy this locator, go to Visual Studio and click this one and just type as type. I'm going to give it as John, right? So if you see here at the background, it is getting executed actually. So it is something like I'm not executing it manually. So whatever I'm just changing it in the Visual Studio, everything is getting executed here for me. So this is something that that is happening in real time. So I can just come and see what is happening without rerunning the test cases by my own. So let's go to the next one. The password, simple. So go here, copy it, go back to Visual Studio and paste it and type demo, right? And the other good news with Cypress is, which I really like, is something like you don't have to, it's something like .submit button in Java and C#, right? It's quite easy for us to do something with Cypress. So all we need to do is just go here and next to that value what we are giving there, we just have to give enter. As simple as that actually. So I'm not doing anything, so it just entered. So if you see here, it just came here automatically, right? This particular function is optional. So this is something called as wait for file change. This is something that is optional. You can turn it off as well. So in order to turn it off, all you need to do is just go to the Visual Studio again. There will be a cypress.json file that will be generated. And this is the place where we need to configure all the parameters that are related to Cypress. All right. So I'm going to give something like this over here. Call it as wait for file changes, and I'm going to give it as false. Simple. Cool. That's fine. Yeah, cool. So now what happens is if I change something in this particular spec file, we will not be able to see anything over there actually. Now let's assume that we are in this particular page. Where is the, yeah. Okay, cool. So let's assume that we are again clicking here and it goes here and it executes the test steps like username, password, and enters and goes to the account overview. Perfect now. So now what happens is like we need to click on this request loan, right? So again, I'm just using the object inspector, selector playground. I'll go here, copy it, and go back to the Visual Studio and paste it. Simple. But if you see here, oh, it's executing. So let me just see, what is it I'm missing? Oh, I think I didn't save it over here. So that's the reason why it just got executed again. So let's close this. Let me stop it. Cool. All right. Okay. Let's go here and see. Wonderful. So if you see here, this one didn't get clicked just because that I didn't add it over there. So all I need to do now is just go back here and go to the test case and just give dot click. Simple. So now what happens is the test cases are getting executed again. Yeah, cool. So now we are going to give this particular value dot type as, let's assume that 1000, and the next one is and the next one that I want to give here is this particular component. I'm going to give it as dot type, and I'm going to give it as, say, 10 pounds. That is what I'm going to do. And I'm going to hit enter here. So I'm just going to use this, save it, and wait for the test to get executed. Wonderful. So perfect. So if you see here, that particular test got executed, right? And now we need to validate whether this particular text is coming there or not. As simple as that. Again, use selector playground, or if you think that I'm not happy using selector playground, you can just use the other ways of representing the locators, like using dot this particular component, or you can just use the locators that are available directly, or there is a separate plugin that is available for XPath. You can use that as well to find the XPath of this particular component. It's up to you guys to decide. So I'm just going to use only this one now. So copy this, go here, and let's do the assertion actually. So I'm going to give it something like this. And I'm going to do should. If you see here, chai is integrated automatically, right? So I'm going to give should of have dot text. So this is again, it is the IntelliSense. You can just make use of this, and you're going to give something like what is that you are planning to validate over there actually. Oh, I did something wrong. Okay, cool. Yeah, I did this one, so it's my bad. Yeah, cool. Oh, come on, let me just write it again. Dot should have dot text, comma. I'm going to give the value that has to be there actually. So let's wait and see what is the value that we need to give. I know that it's congratulations something. Let me just copy this text, simple, and go back to the Visual Studio Code and give the value over here. As simple as that actually. So now let's go back to the test runner and see what is happening. Wonderful. So if you see here, so the test got executed in no time. There is, if you remember, I just saved it over here and I came here and I saw my test is over. So basically, that is the speed that Cypress is giving us about the execution. And the other one is, if you remember, I was talking about the time travel feature, isn't it? So this is what I was talking about. So if you hover over on the left hand side, you will be able to see what is exactly happening at that particular step. And you will be able to see a red dot on that particular component to understand what has happened at that particular time. And if you see here, this is the XHR request that has been triggered. And I haven't used it personally, but again, if you're a developer, you can just make use of the XHR feature that is available, and you can just see what is happening around. And this is not a video. This is not a video, and this is the DOM's snapshot that has been taken by Cypress. And once this particular test is closed, all the snapshots will be cleared automatically. So you don't have to worry that this particular will this particular snapshot will be stored in your local folder or not. No, it'll be refreshed automatically. And this is the assertion that we have given here to see what is this particular this particular assertion is all about. Now let's do one thing. Let's do a negative scenario about seeing that how Cypress is going to tell us if there is some assertion failure. Okay, because one of the major advantage of using Cypress is something that it gives clear error messages. So it will not just show us the exception stack trace, but also it just shows us with a clear message that what is that error is all about. So let's do one thing. Let me just go and remove that just O, and save it and come here and see what is happening. Cool. So if you see here, this is the one which is shown very clearly. It doesn't show any exception, stack trace, or something like that. It just directly says that this is what expected, but it is having this one actually, right? And it's up to you to decide whether you have to see the stack trace, and you can just go and see whether what is happening there and each and everything over there, right? So So this is the scenario that I wanted to show you guys about how easy it is for us to execute the test cases. Sorry, script the test cases and execute it. So if you see here, within 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, probably like 6, 7 lines of code, we are able to execute everything. We are not writing any extra import statements, or we're not writing any driver instances. No need to worry about page objects here. So all those kind of things are automatically being taken care by Cypress. If you're really interested to use Cypress from a framework level perspective, I can suggest you a couple of Udemy courses. So if you go to Udemy and search for Karthik KK's course, that is super amazing, where you will be able to understand each and everything about Cypress. And if you want to kickstart with Cypress and understand and make use it to the minimum level, you can go to Test Automation University, and you can definitely search for Cypress course by Gil Taylor. You can just go and take up his course to kickstart it as well. So this is the demo part that I wanted to show you guys. And the other one is, let me just take another few minutes to show you how to execute it from the terminal, actually. I just forgot, sorry about that. Do I have time? Yeah, I do have 10 minutes, yeah. All right, so Cypress as such, it's a huge one, but again, I know that within one hour we cannot cover everything. So that's the reason why we are planning to have lunch and learn sessions in the future, where you can just register yourself to join. And now let's do one thing. Let's try to execute it from the local machine, actually. So for that, all I need to do is just give this command, npx space cypress space run, which will execute all the specs that are available as part of the integration folder. Keep in mind, it will be executing it in Electron browser by default, but it will not be executing it in Chrome. And again, if you want to execute it with Chrome, all you need to do is like just give the parameters accordingly, like browser is equal to Chrome, something like this. But for now, I'm just going to give the Electron itself. So I'm just going to hit enter. And this particular client CLI way of execution is headless. So this will be very, very useful when it comes to CI/CD pipeline when you start adapting Cypress. So the headless mode is amazing here. So you don't have to pass any extra parameters as such. All you need to do is like just give this particular command and the browser that you want to execute, and the test executes on its own, actually. So all right, so there is one failing, that's all right. So I just wanted to show you this. Let's do one thing. It's failed because of some reason. That's all right. So let's go and see what happened here. So the video is recorded automatically. So all I need to do is reveal in Finder and just open this and see what is happening there. Oh yes, it will be failing because we have given the assertion to be getting failed, if I'm right. Come on, is it the one? Yes, that's the one, actually. So that's the reason why it is failing. So let's just make it as pass here. So I'm just going to give congratulations, save, and I'm just going to hit enter again. So this time it should be passing for sure. Yeah, perfect. So it just got executed and everything is passing, and the video file will be located here. But like I said earlier, you can definitely customize it as well, just in case if you think this particular feature is not really required for you. And the other one which I wanted to talk about is the Cypress dashboard, actually. So if you see here, this is the Cypress dashboard, and it is commercial, but again, it is free to use for a few projects, actually. So there is a seed plan and different types of plans that you can just adopt. But this is a free version of the dashboard that I'm trying to use, where parallel execution and other stuffs are not available. But again, just for the demo purpose, you can just click on the project that I just ran a couple of hours back. And so basically speaking, you can integrate this particular dashboard with your CI/CD as well. So you can just come and see here. the test results on what has happened at that particular instance, and it is live. So the dashboard is 100% live. So when you have thousands of test cases that are getting executed and you want to monitor it, right, in the real time, you can always integrate your tests with this particular dashboard. And that is quite possible through the test runner, where you can just go and if you go to the run settings option, you can directly integrate this dashboard with your code. But as of now, I'm just ignoring that part. But in the other sessions, we will be able to see more about this dashboard as well. So if you see here, you will be able to see the output of what has happened, what has executed and everything. And you will be able to see the screenshots if there are any failures, or you can just see the video as well. So this particular video will be uploaded to the dashboard, to the cloud where Cypress is running. So in case if you think that from the security perspective that maybe I cannot upload the videos directly to the Cypress dashboard because of the organization constraints, I would suggest not to use this particular dashboard. Rather, you can directly use the dashboards that are available from CI, Circle CI. So that is also one good option. So I think these are the ones that I wanted to show you guys. I know that it's already just 10 more minutes left. I'll directly pitch into the question and answer session, so we can just I can try to answer a couple of questions that you have asked me.
Thanks, Giridhar.
Sure. I think I need to stop presenting if I'm right, yeah?
Yeah. So if I give you focus, do you want me to read out the questions for you? Is that easier?
No, I can read out actually.
Okay.
I can just go. Yeah, perfect. Yeah. So the first one is, do we know when Firefox support will be? Oh no, it just got removed. I don't know who removed it actually. Okay, so what would be your choice of tools for web UI end-to-end automation, Selenium versus Cypress? That's really a good question, actually. So if you remember, a couple of days back, we just had a webinar about Cypress and Selenium. I'll just share the link with Rian, and Rian will be circulating it to you guys. So basically speaking, if you ask me, if you have a requirement of integrating your test cases with any third-party cloud-based cross-browser testing tools like Browser Stack or Sauce Labs, I think Selenium is the right option. But if you think, I can live with it and I can have my own infrastructure locally to run all my, test cases in different machines. If it is your modern web-based application or any web-based application, yes, Cypress is the best option over here. I've heard that Cypress runs on Puppeteer's API. Is that true? If yes, then what's the difference between both, apart from the headless? Honestly, Abdur, I haven't used Puppeteer, or neither I have heard about this particular question. But I'll definitely check with the Cypress team, and I can get back to you on that. Oh, actually, Akshay has already replied. That's great. Do we know when Firefox support will be improved? I still get some problems with Firefox processes, no automatically closing at the end of the test. Okay, I'm not sure what is that you mean by closing at the end of the test. But again, if you face any, but again, what I feel is like Firefox support is in the beta phase currently, and it has to be improved a lot. So probably that could be the reason why you're having this issue. And definitely you can get into the Cypress GitHub and you can raise an issue. Can we use on Pega applications or only applications for React.js? That's really a good question. So Pega is a, if I'm right, I haven't used Pega. I've used APN. Again, I think it is possible. The reason is like end of the day, if it is a browser-based application, yes, definitely it is possible. How to handle Azure AD login using Cypress? That's really a good question, Manoj. I haven't used Azure as such. Maybe we just have to check with the Cypress team whether they have anything that is ready, or they just have to add this particular feature. Can non-developers write tests, example via a simplified page object model or keyword-driven framework? Very good question. I want to tell you something here actually. So Cypress as such, if you see, they really don't believe in page object model. So even though that is a very famous and more convenient, design pattern that is available as part of Selenium, but what Cypress thinks is they have something other, something that is different, like application model, something like that, which is completely a different architecture. So if you, again, Cypress, officially doesn't support page object model, but there are places where you can use page object model kind of framework. Tried using Cypress earlier, but I wasn't able to achieve two scenarios. Not able to open two domains in the same test, like opening google.com and yes, good. And the other one is unable to open a link in a new tab and verify the present on the other page. Wonderful question, Tarun. So basically speaking, these are a couple of limitations that Cypress has. The cross domain, right? Opening two different domains. That is one thing that Cypress, I think they personally, Cypress as such as a team, they personally feel that an application should always be within one domain because that is how, the W3C standards are also talking about. So that's the reason why they are not focusing more from having cross domain, support, but to support almost the wildcards of that particular, google.com. Say, for example, tarun.google.com will be supported, google.tarun.com will be supported. So something like that. So there is a domain, wildcard that will be used, if I'm right, to address. And yes, there is a big trouble. Even I have faced it. Like you cannot open a new tab. I think the tab functionality is not supported. I think it should be there in their roadmap. That is one question that I'm able to see. People are asking across the board, across all the forums that I'm talking about. And the other one is using Selenium over, Cypress over Selenium may be advantageous as it does need to wait for network responses. However, this may be also be a disadvantage as it will not catch performance issues. Yes, perfect. That's really a good question. So we need to understand that Selenium, both Selenium and Cypress should not be used for performance. If you're talking about performance testing as such. But again, yes, I agree. But again, make sure that you're not using Cypress or Selenium for performance-related testing at all. I think there is another question from Tarun. It says that heard that Cypress mainly executes tests based on JavaScript-based injections, but doesn't simulate the user actions like Selenium. So that's why, yes, that's right. Absolutely right. Yeah. So basically, Cypress is used for complete web testing, web test automation, but not for any other, simulating user actions like extracting like non-testing activities like extracting a text or extracting a images, something like that. Yes, yeah, you're right. What are the limitations or disadvantages of using JavaScript over Java, Python, etc. that Selenium can use? Okay, that's really a good question. So I have used Java, so even now I'm using it. So I'm using Selenium with Java for almost like 9 years now, and JavaScript for almost like a couple of years. But again, I'm using JavaScript over WebDriver IO, not the exact vanilla flavor. So I cannot really comment on that because it's totally different thing when it comes to WebDriver IO. What are the challenges with located strategy? I honestly see no challenges. Yeah. Does it support BDD Cucumber style of tests? Absolutely yes. Actually. So if you go to my blog, learndevtestOps.com, you will be able to see a different set of test cases. Not test cases, different set of articles with regards to BDD Cucumber also. So you can just go and see over there. How easy is it to share code between tests? For example, can I write login steps once and reuse them in each test I need to log in for? Yes, you can do that. So basically speaking, you can add functions. So you can just have commands. So it is called as commands in Cypress. So the reusable functions. So you can write it in different JavaScript files and make use of them directly here. Does it integrate with Cucumber? Yes. What are the limitations of Cypress as compared to Selenium? That's a great question, Anu. I'll probably send you the link so you can just go through that. How can you handle expecs on Cypress? I'm not sure what is that. I think Mary is asking a question. Assertions? Yes, if it is assertions, we can handle it, within Cypress directly. What are the best practices to design framework? Should here also we follow page object model? Yes, like I said earlier, you can use it if you think that is quite easy for you to use. But it does support page objects as well, but they officially don't support it, but you can use it in fact. Yes, you can use commands and functions for the question which Sarita has asked. No, unfortunately, no. It doesn't support multiple tabs. Right now, I'm using Puppeteer, which will be the benefits to switch to Puppeteer, which is best end-to-end. I haven't used Puppeteer honestly, but you can definitely, check. You can get started with Cypress, and definitely you will be able to understand the differences. Yes, it does support XPaths as well, but you need to import a separate library to do that part actually. Yeah. Which is better, Cypress versus Test Cafe? Test Cafe, I haven't used it, so I really can't comment on that actually. Again, I think it should have different approaches and architecture. Is there any API automation in Cypress? Yes, we do have API automation in Cypress. In fact, so we will probably have one lunch and learn session completely for API automation using Cypress, because that's a huge topic, and that's where the end-to-end testing strategy comes into place, and that is how Cypress is going to be more beneficial when it comes to the automation pyramids integration tests segment actually. Yes, I'll probably, I think Mary has already given, that's what the link that I want to give. But yes, you can go through those best practices as well. No, not really required actually. Yeah, it's not really required for whether it is JavaScript or something. Interesting question, Ryan. So, see, from Cypress, if you see, it is just a UI automation tool actually. But again, it's up to you to use a couple of third-party dependencies to integrate it with database completely. Okay, Anu, we have a Gitter channel as well where you can just go and join. But again, if you think you're stuck somewhere, you can ping me directly so that I can just help you out in case if I can. Or there is a, I think I don't think so that there is a Slack, but just check it out. But there is a Gitter. You can directly go there, and their documentations are well written. So I think that will be more supportive as well. Yep. Thanks, Mary. Thanks for your comment over there. Both are different. Okay. It's something like it's comparing. I would say that it's like apples and oranges. It's totally different one. Yeah, like Akshaya rightly said, architecture as well.
Cool. I think you've answered everything.
Ah, wonderful.
Which is good.
Yay. Yay. Great questions, guys. I really appreciate the questions actually.
I've just got one more which has just popped in. I don't know if you can see it.
I don't understand that. What's your suggestion of learning JSBR?
I think that's supposed to be learning JavaScript before starting Cypress.
Okay. I would suggest basic understanding about JavaScript is more than enough. I don't think so that it is required that you should master JavaScript. Oh, thank you. So to kickstart Cypress, I think basic should be more than enough. Wow. I personally use Mokasam. So there is something like I just wanted to show you guys as well, but because of the time constraint, I couldn't do. But there is something called as Mokasam, and Allure report is also very good actually. I think Allure is having recent support, very good support for that. But again, Mocha and Allure, I think they have only offline reports, but not live reports. That's a one big difference that I have seen actually. I think we will let you know, Anu. I think Rian will be sending a notification about the lunch and learns.
Yeah, so there's a few things we want to try out. Okay, so obviously we're quite new, only episode 2, so we're going to try a few different things. We're going to try some lunch time sessions and a mix of evening sessions. We've definitely got some Cypress sessions coming up where we can dive into a bit more detail around some of these questions which were asked, which is good. But it's not all Cypress. We will have some sessions on other technical tooling and demos, as well as kind of something a bit more theoretical. I guess I think it's up to you guys really. If you're interested in particular things, you want to hear more about a product or a way of working, then please get in touch. And if we can find the right person to give a talk, then we're more than happy to put something on. Equally, if you have something that you think you'd like to talk about, something you've been doing or that you're really interested in or that you want to share, then again, please get in touch. We're really open to first-time speakers or experienced speakers. If you want to get in touch, if you want to do a talk, then please feel free to let us know.
Yep, perfect. I think there was one more question that was asked actually. Let me just take a quick look at it. We can just,
please do.
Sorry about that. I'll share the Udemy link for sure after this call. And David has asked, how would you integrate Cypress into AWS CI? David, I think it is quite easy. It is just like integrating your Selenium scripts directly into your AWS only. So, and good thing with Cypress is like it supports Docker as well. So you don't have to worry about it. So you can just kickstart the instances without any, without any hassle. No, they do not support for native mobile actions. Sorry, no. I don't think so that they are going to do that as well, because their primary focus is for the web applications.
Cool. Okay. Well, unless anyone has anything else.
I'll probably take a selfie with all our folks who are here so that we can just use it for our events. Yeah. Cheers, guys. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Giridhar. That's really useful.
No worries at all.
I look forward to hearing more about Cypress in our future sessions. And thanks everyone else for joining. And I hope to see you at future events. One thing. Obviously, you must be on our Meetup page, so just keep an eye on that if you want to find out about other events, or you can connect with me or Giridhar on LinkedIn, and we'll post about up and coming events.
Yep.
Cool. Well, thanks everyone, and I'll end the meeting.
Thanks, guys. Thank you so much. Stay safe. Stay home. Bye. Thank you.